Welcome back to the Our Raw Material Pillar Guidance for the Fall 2025 session. You can start with any pillar, but it is Mentors Week, week 1, and if you want to start at the beginning, now's the time. In deciding what we were going to do for this session, Quan suggested that we operate from the perspective of trees because the fall goes to the roots. And so the question he posed to me was, what type of tree was my first mentor? And at first I thought that question was funny. And then I actually thought about the trees that influenced me when I was young. And there are several. So I'm going to do my best to carry this metaphor through the next 12 weeks and see how we do, looking at the pillars from the standpoint of something that stays in one place, doesn't move, experiences all of the seasons and everything that comes around and goes around, not in the same way that we do, but let's try looking from that perspective. So let's take a deep breath and get centered and grounded. Let your roots, come out and occupy, stretch yourself out, occupy as much of that space as you can. Imagine as if you take up the same amount of space that a tree does. And for me, the first tree that I loved was a weeping willow. And I think it takes me back to Alice in Wonderland. I don't even know if those are the trees that she was sitting in and around, but that's the way I remember it. So in my mind, it was weeping willows all over the place. In my own yard, there was a massive oak tree with a big hole in it. I'm sure the tree was rotting from the time we lived there, but that center spot was home to squirrels and birds and all different kinds of things. We would get our balls stuck in there. You'd have to get up there and get it, and it was always scary to reach in there. You never knew what was going to come out. And then the backyard had two apple trees. Neither of them produced very good apples, but I remember eating them, knowing they were sour and bitter, and throwing them to the ground. And then a pecan tree. My family's green thumb was not in effect at this point, and I'm not really sure any of us did any due diligence trying to care for these trees or trying to use their fruit or trying to do anything with them other than let them be the part of the yard and ornamental shelter that they were. I always wanted a tree that you could fit a tree house in. I was always jealous of tree houses, and my friends that had them, I would go over and just love to be up there, even though they were kind of dirty and musty. And, once you'd had them for a while, I don't think they were, I don't know. I just didn't seem like the people that had them appreciated them as much as I appreciated them not having them. And again, let's just keep breathing through the ideas around trees as mentors. The types of trees that teach us different things. What does an oak tree represent in your life, if you know anything about an oak tree? Perhaps if you're not from the Midwest, you don't have oak trees. You don't have sycamores. I don't actually know. So I'm going to have to go do some intel on trees. I know that specifically my wedding ring, I don't think you can probably see the differences, but there's two kinds of wood in there. One is a monkey pod tree. It's a big, lovely tree that does all this. And when it rains, it pulls in its branches so that the things underneath it can be nurtured. And so I love that tree for that reason. I love that. It's the lighter wood on this ring. And then the darker wood is a tree that's been extinct for over 100 years in Vietnam. It is called moon ebony. And I just like the idea of having something old and ancient mixed with something nurturing. Something that can't give anymore with something that gives frequently. As the challenge for this week, let's get still within ourselves and imagine the roots of the mentors that have passed. Grandparents, great-grandparents, any family members that have left too early. Sit quietly with an open heart in the emotional space of just exchanging energy with them. Remember all of the things that made them wonderful. What would you say to them if you had a moment with them? Get quiet within yourself. Breathe. Strong exhale. Getting into those roots with all of the energetic nutrients you can muster. Reaching into your own tight spaces. Allowing those ancestral relationships and energies to rise up within you, giving you strength and patience in a world that taxes us and right now makes things really difficult. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to the stillness of this fall session as we each imagine from the perspective of roots, trees, stillness. How do we get quiet within ourselves and remain actively relating to the world around us? That's our challenge for this particular cycle. I will be back next week when we talk about the music of trees. Ooh, I'm already excited. Thank you.